Welcome to GKey Solutions Private Limited. SQL Server Database, Interview Questions and Answers. Question number 7. The difference between ISNULL function and Coalesce function in SQL Server Database.
In this session, we are going to discuss about the difference between ISNULL function and Coalesce function in SQL Server Database. Coming to ISNULL function, it is a built-in function that replaces nulls with a specified replacement value. It always takes exactly 2 arguments. Syntax for this is ISNULL, expression and replacement value. The return type is the same as the first arguments type. For example, using ISNULL, there is a query called select empid name ISNULL manager id, 0. We are calling this column as manager id handle. Here we are replacing null values in manager id column with a 0 from employees table, and same thing we are doing it for the Coalesce. Coming to the Coalesce function, it is a standard SQL function that is called ANSI, American National Standard Institute compliant. The Coalesce function takes two or more arguments. For example, the syntax for this is Coalesce expression 1, expression 2 and expression 3 and so on. Returns the first non-null value. When you use Coalesce function, among 3 or 4 values, it returns first non-null value. Return type follows data type precedence rules in SQL Server. Whatever the data type precedences are there in SQL Server, it follows that one. Coming to the example, using Coalesce function with multiple options, select employee ID name Coalesce function manager ID, 0, -1 as manager ID handle. We are giving alias name as manager ID underscore handled from employees table. We'll see how these 2 queries are going to work in SSMS, that is SQL Server Management Studio. Now we are in SQL Server Management Studio, that too in demo at GKey database. Here we are checking using ISNULL function. Here the same query that we are executing here. Let's see the null values. Here we are replacing with the zeros. The same thing we are going to check with the Coalesce function, but here we are having 3 arguments. How it is going to work? See, here also the same result is there. Like we are replacing null values with first argument, that is with 0. If you are using more argument, it will replace the nulls with first argument, that is 0. We have replaced the null values in manager ID with 0. For example, if we have -1 the first as a first argument and 0 as a second argument, let's try checking this. See, now the first argument has taken for the null values. In this way, among more than 2 arguments in Coalesce function, it will take first non-null value and it will replace the null values in the query. I think you got a clear picture about the ISNULL and Coalesce function. The ISNULL function will be accepting only 2 arguments, whereas Coalesce function will accept more than 2 arguments, but it replaces first non-null value. And we'll check the same by having these type of scenarios below. For example, we are selecting Coalesce function with more than 2 arguments. Yeah. Now here displaying first non-null value, that is 1. We are trying the same with 2 arguments with ISNULL function, and it is displaying first non-null value. We try to give another value like 3 arguments in this. See, the syntax itself it is showing the error. Why? Because the ISNULL function only accepts 3 arguments. And coming to the key differences that we have discussed in the query, I have segregated 5 key differences over here. That is definition, arguments, return type, usage and portability. The definition is like ISNULL function is SQL Server specific function, whereas Coalesce function is ANSI standard SQL function. Coming to the second point, arguments. SQL exactly accepts 2 arguments, whereas Coalesce function accepts more than 2 arguments. Coming to the return type, the return type is same as first arguments type for ISNULL function, whereas coming to the Coalesce function, it highest precedence data type among the arguments. The first non-null value it is going to take and it will consider the data type of that value. Whereas coming to the usage, the ISNULL is simple null replacement. The scenarios with simple null replacement kind of scenarios, we are going to use ISNULL function, whereas Coalesce is flexible, can handle multiple fallback values. The final point, the portability. The portability for ISNULL is, the ISNULL is only for SQL Server. We can't find this kind of function in other databases like SQL, like Oracle, MySQL, Teradata, something like that. It is exclusively for SQL Server database. Whereas Coalesce function works in most of the relational database management systems like Oracle, PostgreSQL, etc. And finally, coming to the summary of these points, like ISNULL for simple 2 argument replacements. For example, we are just replacing null values in manager ID column. We are passing manager ID, comma 0. There it is replacing 0 for manager ID null values. Coming to the Coalesce function, when multiple fallback values are needed or when writing portable SQL. For example, there are more than 2 arguments for a particular column. We want to identify first not null value. In such a scenario, we go and use Coalesce function. And here we have to be aware of data type differences in return values while using ISNULL function whereas Coalesce function. Thank you.
Stay connected with GKey IT solutions on all your favorite platforms. Follow us on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to stay updated with all our latest content. Join the GKey community and grow your IT career with us.